As promised, we will now use event emitters and listeners in practice. And we start by creating a new file here. So events.js, and close up this one. So to use the built-in Node events, we need to require the events module. And from that, we're going to require an event emitter class. So event emitter, this is kind of the standard name for the result of requiring this events module. So again, this is a built-in Node module, okay? And now to create a new emitter, we simply create an instance, basically, of the class that we just imported. So very simple. My emitter is a new event emitter. So event emitter, just like this. So remember from the last video that event emitters can emit named events, and we can then subscribe to these events. So basically listen to them and then react accordingly. Okay, so it's a bit like setting up an event listener on a DOM element, for example, for clicking on a button. And I'm sure you've done that before when working with JavaScript on the client side, right? So our emitter will eventually emit a named event. Okay, so let's set that up. And let's simply pretend that we're building like an online store or something. Okay, so we can say my emitter.emit, and then we can make up any event name that we want. Okay, so we want to emit an event called new sale. Okay, and using the example of clicking on a button that I used before, this emitting here is like as if we were clicking on the button. And so now we have to set up these listeners. Okay, and let me actually do that before here. And so again, we use our my emitter object, and on that we use the on method. Okay, so on new sale, and then the callback function, which is going to get executed as soon as the event is emitted. So as usually, let's simply log something to the console. There was a new sale. Okay, and let's add another one. So remember that I said earlier that one of the nice things about these event emitters is that we can actually set up multiple listeners for the same event. So let's do that here. And so again, of course, we're listening for the new sale event. And then log just something else. Doesn't really matter here. So customer name, for example, Jonas. So let's test this out. Clear the one from before, and we use Node and then events.js. So there was a sale and customer name Jonas. And so you see already that it's working. So great. So this is the observer pattern. Remember, where this one here is the object that emits the events, and then these two here, so this on and this on, these are the observers. They observe the emitter and wait until it emits the new sale event. And of course, our emitter could also emit other events, like new customer or new order or something like that, and we could then add listeners for that one as well. Okay? Now another thing that I wanted to show you is that we can even pass arguments to the event listener by passing them as an additional argument in the emitter. Here. So let's say that we pass 9, so in this case just a number, and we then have a listener that wants to use that. So my emitter, new sale, and so now this callback function can take an argument. And so let's call it the stock. So basically the amount of items that are left from the product that we're selling here. So let's use a template string. There are now stock items left in stock. So if we run this now, we should see there are now 9 items left in stock because we emitted this event basically with a 9, and the listener can then pick up this value here as an argument of their callback functions. So this stock variable here in this case. So if you run this again, then here there are 9 items left in stock. So perfect. And you see that these 3 logs here appear in the exact same order that they are declared in the code. Okay, and so that's the normal behavior. If we have multiple listeners for the same event, then they will run synchronously, so one after the other, in the order that they were in the code. So this small example works perfectly already, but if we were to use this pattern in real life, then it's a best practice to create a new class that will actually inherit from the node event emitter. So something like this. So let's say class sales extends event emitter. And that is ES6 or ES2015 syntax for class inheritance. And again, I hope that you're familiar with ES6 at the time you're taking this course, okay? So in broad terms, the event emitter is a class, so the one that we imported from events, and our sales class is the new class that we're creating and that inherits everything from the event emitter class, okay? Then in ES6, each class gets a constructor, which is a function that is run as soon as we create a new object from a class, okay? And what we need to do here is to call super, and that's something that we always have to do when we extend another superclass, okay? So this is the parent class and this is the superclass. And by running super, we then get access to all the methods of the parent class. So again, event emitter in this case, okay? And so now what we have to do is to actually move this one down. And so now my emitter is a new sales. Okay, and so now it will work exactly the same. And indeed, here we go. And actually, this mechanism that I just showed you here, so basically extending the event emitter class, is exactly how the different node modules like HTTP, file system, and many other Node core modules implement events internally. Okay, so all of them actually inherit from the event emitter class. Okay, and with this small example working, let's actually now try another thing. So since I was just talking about the HTTP module, let me actually demonstrate to you that it is completely based on events. Okay, so we have this part working. Let's create a couple of comments here, something, and then create another example down here. All right. And what we're going to do is to basically create a small web server and then actually listen to the event that it emits. Okay, so up here, we need to import the HTTP module. And then down here, we can use it. So we're creating a server, and now I'm going to do it a little bit different than the way we did it in the first intro section, okay? But it actually works the exact same way. So all I'm going to do here is now http.create server, and just like this. And now what I'm going to do is to basically listen to different events that the server will emit. So for that, again, I'm using on. And so if you see .on anywhere in a Node project, well, then you already know that you are listening or that the code is listening to a foreign event, okay? And so the one that we are listening here is the request event, okay? And so now it works just the same as before. We have a callback function which gets access to the request and the response. So nothing new at this point. We did exactly that in the Node farm project, okay? So console.log request received, and then let's also send something back. Just the same text actually, okay? And of course, we can listen multiple times to the same event. So let's just say here another request. Using some emoji here just to make it pop a little bit more. And no, it's not appearing. What's going on here? Here we go. So listening to request, and we can also listen to the close event. So server on close, and that is the event that is fired when the server, as you can imagine, closes down. Okay, so that is listening to the events. And now remember, we also have to actually start the server. So, and we start the server up by using server.listen. Pass in the port, the address, which is localhost again for us in this case, at 0.1, and then our callback function, which is optional, but let's include it here again. Waiting for requests. So let's actually start this. And we see waiting for requests. And the application is not shutting down. And now you know why it doesn't shut down, right? It is so because the event loop is still waiting for incoming I/O, right? So that's what we learned in the event loop lectures. Okay, now let's actually do a request on port 8000 on this URL. And here we go. So we see request received. So this works because as soon as there is a new request, the server automatically emits the request object. Okay, and we can see that here, of course. And here in the console, we see our request received string. And I actually wanted to get another one here. So yeah, we can of course only send one response. And so here I should have another console.log instead. So let's exit this, start it up again, reload. And yeah, so now we get a request received, which is from this first event listener, and another request from this second event listener. One thing that you're probably noticing is that each of these here actually is logged twice. So that means that the server is actually emitting the request event twice as well. So let's see why that is. So console.log request.url. So with that, we can get access to the URL of the request. Let's quit it here, run it again, reload. And so we have one for the root URL and then one for the favicon.ico. So browsers automatically try to request a favicon for each website. Okay, so that is why each of these appeared twice actually. Okay, so you see that not always we have to actually also emit events. That is more when we try to use the event emitter on our own. So basically when we're trying to use our custom events in our applications. In this case, of course, we have to emit the events ourselves. But if we're using a built-in node module, then these functions in there will many times emit their own events, and all we have to do is to listen to them. So that's exactly what we did here. And with that, I think you now know all you need to know about events and are ready to come with me to the next video.